All right.
outside
All
the
right. At this point in time, Mr. Aman Lekhi,
destroyed.
senior advocate, also
It is
joins us
totally
on the show. Mr. Lekhi, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. I hope you can hear me. Mr. Lekhi?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right. Absolutely, sir. So first up, your reaction to the outcome of this case. So far, whatever we have heard from experts and people who are connected to this matter say that this is obviously a high-profile case. Justice and the quantum of justice, and the flexibility as well as the sensitivity around the verdict given is going to be crucial.
No, it's a criminal case like any other criminal case, but peculiar in the sense that it's actually symbolized a collapse of law and order. And I say collapse of law and order because of what one of the panelists was just mentioning when I joined, the failure to prevent, detect, register, which led to the transfer of the investigation to the CBI in first place. And the attendant circumstances created doubt of the seriousness of the police in the first instance to deal with the matter. That said, surprisingly, and I do not know the reason why, as far as the charge sheet is only against Roy. As far as the other persons are concerned, the question of destruction of evidence. Now, the destruction of evidence would actually point also to some conspiratorial design, but I'm sure as far as the CBI is concerned, for reasons it must have investigated, it must have left the others out. That said, insofar as this particular case is concerned, it's an aggravated form of rape in the peculiar circumstances because the gentleman was a civic volunteer of the police, connected in some way politically, in so was empowered. And the incident actually happened in the hospital, and that too with a doctor. And the circumstances cumulatively suggest that as to the crime is concerned, it was of the most extreme magnitude. The penal code itself prescribes a maximum punishment. As far as that is concerned, it's for the court to decide. And the verdict having been rendered, the offences being punishable with death, I feel if the circumstances are conclusively established, that would be the appropriate punishment. However, there's some reports where there are mobs outside saying that they should be death, and as that aspect is concerned, I think that requires check in correction because that would be a form of vigilantism, as the law should be allowed to take its course, and whatever is warranted in the circumstances must necessarily be imposed as a punishment.
Mr. Lekhi, what do you think happens next? Obviously, there is going to be an appeal against this particular verdict, but let us not forget that this is a very serious matter. We have had rape cases in this country in the past as well, which have been closely followed, and they have been in fact instrumental in determining how the law in fact addresses the concept of rape in our country.
Well, first it will be sentencing. Depending upon the sentence, it will be the procedure, because if there's a death, it will be confirmation. The matter will actually go in appeal. The appeal and the confirmation will be seen. What course it will take depends upon what actually happens, whatever the date fixed for the sentencing, which is bound to follow. As the law is concerned, the law is clear as to the punishment, because this is an aggravated form of rape leading to death, murder. So this is, as the death is one of the punishments which law prescribes. You mentioned the close pursuing of this particular matter. That has got its advantages and disadvantages both, as far as this aspect is concerned, because in some way it shuts the door out for a person who's accused of an offense for a fair hearing in court, with virtually the whole world bleeding down the neck of whoever is actually concerned with the matter, for the purposes of creating that kind of pressure that justice can only go in one direction, which is what the collective decides. I don't approve of that particular method, but that is a debate for a different point altogether. As far as this case is concerned, because the court, on examining what I got to know is 50 witnesses, and till now there's absolutely no grievance as to the legal safeguard which legitimate a fair trial having been violated. I presume that the verdict that has been rendered is one on due consideration of whatever other facts. And in the circumstances, if it's in fact proved, the punishment warranted has necessarily to be the most extreme punishment which the statute permits.
So what about the magnitude of this case? This was a particular case which made national headlines. How does that impact the sensitivity or the nuances surrounding this case?
As far as the case is concerned, the case is not impacted by the noise which is happening around. For a case to proceed has to actually proceed on the merits of what the case actually is, and for that you have to confine yourself to the facts as has been investigated and presented before the court, and to which the court has applied its judicial mind. Yes, as a country, as a nation, as a concerned populace, the fact that incidents like these happen, and the circumstances in which this particular incident happened is in fact rather dastardly. And I say dastardly not only because of the heinous nature of the offense, but the manner in which the political system was closing around to protect actually initially about whom there was a popular conception of being directly involved in that particular exercise. So what actually should motivate us to think is not only measures, because this happens repeatedly, to prevent incidents like this, but the Supreme Court also considered in its hearing that. But the larger issue here, as far as some crime which has got some kind of political patronage, as to how is it that we deal with it. The national concern here is necessarily to focus on both aspects. One, the endemic nature of this particular offense, which every once in a while raises its ugly head, and all of us then in fact consider as to what is it that we have to do to prevent it, but somehow these incidents yet recur. So why is it that these incidents are recurring is something we have to see. But the larger issue would be in cases like these, when an already serious case becomes worse, the manner in which there are political overtones to the entire exercise. In that event, our attention has necessarily to be on the latter aspect more than the first aspect, because that compromises the legal system as such. So I think as far as our concern is concerned, as far as the matter is there, the matter will go in terms of whatever the procedure is prescribed. But as far as the national interest is concerned, the national interest will actually be divided both on the recurrence of this particular recurrence of these particular offences, and also the manner in which this specific offence actually took place.
Mr. Lekhi, appreciate you took out the time, sir, and spoke with us. Thank you so much for those valuable insights. All right, at this point in time,